The way back to unity, union with the higher self, 5D consciousness is always within. Now, what does it mean to go within? To go within is to stop paying attention to what people think of you, to stop looking for people's approval of you, and to focus on yourself. Now, when you focus on yourself on a spiritual stance, you will find that your worst enemy is the ego. The ego is that little voice inside yourself that will always tell you that you will never amount to anything in life. That sure, you want to try this, but why bother because you're not going to be a success. The ego is that little voice that will tell you that you have to hold on to this or that person so hard and so tight because they will eventually leave you, and without them you cannot be happy because you cannot be complete. So to go within is to remember who you are, that you are one with everything and everybody, that you are one with Source, that we all come from Source, that we are all in this third density world, a drop of Source. And back to Source we always go when we leave this body. To go within is to remember who you are, therefore to realize that you are already complete, because you are everything and everyone, and that you do not need anyone to complete you. To go within is to tame your ego, because as I said before, you cannot kill your ego. That is why I do not like the term ego death. You can only tame it. You can only welcome what the ego has to say, but not try to fight it. It's a little bit like this, I think it's a Buddhist expression, to have Mara over Fati. Mara being the embodiment of self-doubt, or any kind of negative self-talk. When the ego does that to you, just let it speak. Do not try to shut it up, because you will always be unsuccessful in such a futile endeavor. Just let it speak, have your ego over Fati, and let it speak. And then, as you do not give any credence, any importance to your ego will automatically realize that it is not very important, or that it is not really welcome, And while it is very unlikely that it will shut up completely, its voice will become less and less important to you. And so one of the practices that I did during my spiritual awakening, and still do, every single time I hear the sneaky voice of the ego trying to make me feel like I will not succeed, or that I am not complete, or that I am not happy, every single time I ask myself, what or who is my ego trying to control? Because at the end of the day, it's always the same thing. Ego wants to control. Ego does that and only that. It tries to control yourself and tries to control others. So every single time something like that happens, that little voice inside of me tells me that I should doubt myself, or that I should doubt this or that person, I always try to identify what or who is the ego trying to control. So, for instance, if it is me that the ego is trying to control, as in, I want to do this, so I'm doing everything I can to achieve my goal. But the ego tells me, no, you're not going to do that. I identify who the ego is trying to control. The ego is trying to control me in order to prevent me from achieving my goal. And if you know who you are and you already know that you are complete and perfect as you are, you will not even, pay heed to what the ego has to say, because knowing that you are already complete, well, then you don't need to be controlled, right? You cannot be controlled when you are complete, because you know what you want, what you don't want. And the thing that you know when you feel and are complete is that you don't want to be controlled by anything or anyone. So when the ego is trying to control you, just put it back in its place and think to yourself, oh, I see, you're trying to control me. Yeah, no one can. So that is an example of when the ego is trying to control you. Another way that the ego will try to interfere in your life is trying to control others. An example, you go out with someone, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and instead of letting them be who they really are, your ego tells you that they are going to leave you because you are not that important to them. And so the ego will tell you that, oh, you should act like this, or you should say that. Which to me is the same as I said before. The ego will have you wear different masks and costumes, right? And so you will not be yourself. Why? Because you are so scared of your partner leaving you that you will try to literally pull one over on them. You will not let them be who they are, and you will present yourself to them under a disguise of the ego, thinking that is what they want. No. Tell the ego that the ego can keep, its masks and costumes. You are who you are yourself. And if your partner loves you for who you are, provided that what you present to them is the real you, again, one of the goals of being you is that when you really are who you are, you really know who you are and embody that with everything that you do and say in life, then the people who are looking for you, the real you, can find you. And that goes with your friends, your romantic partners, your family, work, whatever it may be. And so when you hear that little voice telling you that your boyfriend or girlfriend will quite possibly leave you, just let it speak. But stay true to who you are. Because if you are meant to stay with that person is meant to stay with the real you. So don't wear the ego masks and costumes that the ego will have you wear. Just let it speak. And know for a fact that the best you can be is who you truly are. And if your partner loves you for who you truly are, then it will work in the long run, because wearing masks and costumes are very tiresome. Whereas when you are yourself, it is easy. It is effortless. And the people who are looking for you and found you will recognize that. You will exude this kind of beautiful vibration, beautiful frequency that they will tune to. And I think that when you give your ego no credence, no importance at all, then your ego cannot control you and cannot control others. And you truly embrace freedom. The freedom for yourself to be who you are. And the freedom for others, the people you talk to, the people you interact with, the people you love, as in a romantic relationship or, relatives in your family or your dear, dear friends. You don't want to change them. You let them be who they are. And that is the most beautiful gift you can give someone, is to let them be who they are and not trying to control them. And that boils down to trust. Basically, when you resist something or someone, be it yourself or somebody else, when you resist someone, you do not trust them. You do not trust yourself that being who you are is enough. And you do not trust others that who they really are is enough to yourself. To themselves, of course, but to yourself too. So that is what I think, or at least, that is what I did during my spiritual awakening, and I am still doing it now. Every single time the ego would rear its ugly head, I would ask myself, okay, who are you trying to control now? Because I cannot be controlled, and I don't want to control others. I want others to be as true with me as I am true to myself and with them. So please, don't try to tell me that I should change them. Don't try to tell me that I should change myself, And so one of the things that I also did after identifying who the ego is trying to control, because again, the ego would not shut up, right? So it will still speak, would still try to poison your life, if you will. I would tell myself, it doesn't matter what you say, ego. I am not interested. So if you view that as a mantra, every single time the ego speaks or tries to, put you down or make you feel bad about yourself and others, just tell the ego. In your head, you don't have to speak it out loud, even though I did, at times. Yeah, it doesn't matter, ego. I'm not interested. So you can talk. I'm not trying to shut you up, but it doesn't matter. And again, the ego will realize that, oh, I'm not welcome here. Okay, maybe I should not talk so much, and come back when I'm really needed. Because again, ego is useful to do things, right? The ego is this little voice inside of you that tells you, oh, you should achieve this, you should do that. And that is as far as the ego should go. Because after it did that, usually it will say, but no, why bother? You can do it. That is when you should tell the ego, it doesn't matter, ego, I'm not interested. I know you're trying to control me, but you have no power here. It's not working. So, So that is what it is, really. And also something that I noticed during my spiritual awakening is whenever the ego tries to make you resist something or someone, tries to make you resist yourself, right? Preventing yourself from being truly who you are and preventing others from being truly who you are, usually it stems from a fear of losing what you hold dear. And the thing that I realized when I chose to embrace non-attachment, again, non-attachment is not being disinterested in people and things, it's just let things and people be who they are without any need, desire, dare I say, to control them. Oftentimes, when you are attached, you have a fear of losing the object of your attachment, be it a thing or a person. Let go of that. Let go of the things and the people that you are afraid to lose. Be there with the things and the people for everything that they give you and everything you can give them. But don't be scared to lose them, because you are already complete. You don't need anything or anyone to complete yourself. And so if the thing that you think you are attached to destroys or goes away or is taken away from you, don't worry, you are still complete. That thing doesn't define your happiness or your completeness. Same goes with people, be it a friend, a family relative, a romantic partner. That you should love them is a fact. You should love them unconditionally. But no one or nothing is and should be the reason of your happiness, because no one can complete you. That is why I don't really like the expression my better half. You know, sometimes people, when they talk about their romantic partner, they will say he or she is my better half. I don't like that. I don't like that because it means that without that person you are not complete. And it's even worse because it means that you are the not so good half and the other one is the better half. I understand the romantic meaning of it, but I don't like the under meaning of it, if that makes sense. You are already complete. Your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your friend, your family relative, they all are already complete. And also they already are you. So how can you miss someone who is already you? You cannot miss anyone, because when you miss someone, it means that without them you are not complete, therefore you are unhappy. But since you understand when you go through a spiritual awakening that you are source, that you are everyone and everything, you cannot miss anything or anyone unless you think you can. And the thing that makes you think you can is the ego. Again, what you have to tell your ego, it doesn't matter, I'm not interested. Who are you trying to control me? You're trying to control me? Sorry, who are you trying to control now? You're trying to control me? No, you cannot do that. Oh, you want me to control my friend or my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my family relatives? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not a controller. I don't control people. Because people don't like to be controlled. So to go within, to go back to the theme of this video, to go within is to remember who you are, to remember that you are complete, to let ego speak when it has something worthwhile to say, but most of the time it is not, and so just don't pay any attention to it. And if you can still hear the voice at the back of your head, just tell the voice, I am not interested. It doesn't matter. I'm not interested. That is, in a nutshell, what it means to go within.